somebody that I didn't count fingers, I just cannot do that. By the way, have we got a recording secretary? And I think there is. I think Captain Robinson back there is making some notes. Are you?
Yeah, these are my notes.
Fine. I hope you're sure. I hope you're sure. I think we have...
That might be interpreted as mutiny.
Okay. Come right in there when you want to, Captain. But, okay, I think we have kind of agreed by the show of hands that I've seen that we will have a meeting every other year. So be it. Bang, bang on the gavel. Now then, we also need to establish some kind of organization that will require a president, a vice president, I better put that in real quick. I thought Guy would pick up on that. But, and we need a secretary treasurer, and maybe two or three historians, somebody that could give input on various things from time to time. And also, I thought it would be a good idea.
In either case, there ain't nothing I know what to do about it.
Put out approximately 3 times a year newsletter to the group. One, probably in the middle of winter to say Christmas greetings, Happy New Year to everybody, and give a recollection and history of what went on in the past and the past year. Then early on, especially in a reunion year, advising everybody of what has been selected and the complete program. This was, I wouldn't call it exactly helter-skelter this year, but it was a little bit of a organizational and decision.
2 more requests for
this out of the way right away.
Yep.
Some time. So finally, Guy says, I propose I'd like to marry you. She said, you sure? Sure. How do you feel about this? Well, I think we'd be good partners. So then they got down to business. They talked about their finances, their estates, their children, their wills and everything. Finally they got down to sex. And she said, well, what about sex? And he said, well, I would say when it comes to sex, it would be infrequent. She said, how's that again? I said it'd be probably infrequent. She says, is that 1 word or 2? Then there's the one about the father and his son went to church, the 10 o'clock mass one morning. The kid had to be pulled out to go to church at all. He didn't care about it. But he's sitting there looking around, saw this beautiful stained glass window. He said, Dad, what's that all about? He says, son, that's the commemoration of those who died in service. He thought about that a few minutes and he said, which one, the 8 o'clock or 11 o'clock? Yeah,
I told him I was, hope he was too. Well, he had, originally he thought about it, he had some other commitments. If I was going, well, he was sure, see if he could bend him a little, maybe we could drive up, not in tandem, but meet at night and come up here together. And we left it at that, and that was in 17th of July. We left it at that, and in about 2 or 3 weeks, Tom Sabellico, who was down in Woods, Florida, who you may remember, he called up and said he called Barney, and Barney was not there. He was in the hospital under oxygen, and he talked to his wife, Ciega, and I thought he was seriously impaired. Well, I called on the 10th of August. I called with his phone number, and I didn't get his wife, but I got his daughter, and she said he was in the hospital. They were afraid he wasn't going to make it. He had pulmonary fibrosis plus pneumonia.
John LaCroix.
There's lemon here too, sir, if you'd like lemon for it. We have lemon juice.
Look at there, he threw his chow down, Kurt.
George Bonshane. Mike Albert.
You'd have another one.
He was signing autographs. Where the hell did he go?
Louis Lutheran. Bob Bradley. Warren Bacon. Russell Weiss. Edward Murphy.
Yes, sir.
Guys, I want you to know you have apple cobbler here too. When you get
Joe Denier.
Thanks, Ralph. Good help. Big help. Oh, I'm glad. Yes, sir.
William McLean. Stan Laslovich.
Yeah, but my philosophy didn't work on me. I always said
Thank you. Hope kids enjoy it.
I'm sorry.
Gordon Gaines.
Dig them out.
Louis Rosenbaum.
Geez, I forgot one of these little pies.
Can't miss that homemade coffee.
I mean, I'm from California.
Are you?
Kenneth Pardee.
I'll bring you one of these if you want to bring that. Make it
I'll get a ribbon.
Fred Knowlton.
Waving? Yes. Oh, yes, waving.
George Heller.
For 3 hours, I'm sitting on the training leg.
sorry. If we'd have known that, we'd have fixed you something else. You have to just walk away from it. That's all.
Jack Popel.
I hope you do too. Now, a little sugar to help you with that.
There we go.
Guy Sisson.
There it is.
Only got one question.
Excuse me. Go ahead.
Ralph Briggs.
We'll let you last it. All right.
Tom Child. Johnny Johnston. John McCormick. Captain Dunlap Robertson. George Royal. I got you. Eugene Lee. Ray Lease. William Martin. John Bates. Dominic Fortunata. Leon Hendrickson.
Iced tea and coffee on the upper end there. There's plenty of both. And that won't make you sick, maybe.
Glenn Montgomery. Hugh Brandreth. Bob Briggs.
Iced tea. And here's some of it. Were you living We'll take the rest of it after all.
Can't back them down now.
Hey, welcome aboard.
Ken Johnson.
You have to get you some
Captain Abe Lakin.
dessert.
I just have that.
Aren't you the diabetic? You can have maybe you don't have a sweet tooth like some people. Yeah, I
Okay.
I've got a lot of papers here.
Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. You tell me what you're sitting on.
I don't know. I'll have to look. You gotta.
I don't have it.
Oh, no. Well, they're put together, but just so I keep them arranged, I'll have them in publication.
Dan Adams.
Yeah, I like looks like tomatoes are good at time.
Tomatoes?
Yeah, no, they're right here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're right here. I got them right myself, right in my backyard.
When it comes to cheese, I'm like a rat.
everything is good. Is it good for you? You didn't spend too much this time. You know that tasty.
I got tomatoes
You know that
here.
Lay it on.
About three.
That's all right. No, I'm fine.
Okay, good. Are you having coffee or?
Yeah, I'm gonna get some later. You got your fighting gear there?
I think I should.
Okay. Let's go find a chair.
I'll put her on.
Let's go find a chair. There's a place over here in the middle of the hall.
Oh, good. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna come back and get my coffee. If I don't, I'll have it all over the floor.
Maybe she did. I have a one in a green cool spring.
I'm going to have a combination here. I don't know.
Well, that's the general idea. Wade right in there, Ken.
Good.
Yeah, wade right in there. You okay?
Yeah, I'm all
Okay.
set.
Right up front and center up there, you'll find a chair.
Okay, good.
Here, I'll show you
Will
where
do.
it is.
I got all the.
Up here, Captain.
I got all the.
I'm gonna wait till the flash goes away, right? There.
Say sex, it makes the eyes laugh.
Everybody got them?
Look this way.
Hold it, hold it, hold it.
It's pretty dark in there, you know? Awfully dark in there.
Absolutely.
I think you ought to come up forward because it's pretty dark in there for our...
The freedom and the gunners and then the fire controlman, and then we'll get the gunnery division.
Are we off the report
Easiest
now?
way for us to get names and check them so that we can identify on the pictures is when the group is small. Now, we don't have any problems with you all. When we get to some of the rest of them, we better be checking names or we don't get the
One more, you guys. One more.
Just one more.
Come up closer because you're in the darkness there. Come up closer.
I'll get these.
There. There you go. Hey, could I make a suggestion? Come here. You get him in the middle. Put him in the middle.
He should be there anyway.
Right here.
Right.
Right there. Now you got more balance.
He's the boss. I gotta get the youngest there. Yeah.
Oh, this higher.
Ready?
Okay, I think, yeah, probably right underneath, just right underneath this page.
Fortunato.
Okay. So you're not gonna go away because after we get the gunners, then we're gonna get the fire controlman and we're gonna get the whole division together, okay? I'm not gonna get you all. Can you go middle a little bit?
All right?
I gotta get over there where they're at. I got one guy missing. There he is. Come up closer on the left back there. That'll play up closer.
First now you got the fire controlman.
Check
the numbers.
Quit getting in front of everybody, Laurel. You'll block them out.
Now we can't see.
Say shit. It makes us curl up on your lips.
There you are.
Johnny, you got all your men? Ready?
2, 3. Got it.
We're not done yet. We're not done yet.
Put me on your telephone number. Like a damn quarter. They work best. Boy, you're a good-looking brute.
Hey, we'll get you, Lee. You gotta get back in. We're not through yet. We'll take it with yours. Gotta have you. Ready? Just a minute. Gotta get another one. Ready?
You know what? If I have people from that's how they got to do it.
I'm out of film.
Got you covered.
Let's take them all.
That's it. Sure, we even got our C division here.
It was.
No, we're gonna get the signal in the quarter.
It didn't go off, Stan.
No,
The radio
got
and
fast
the
film.
radar.
Fast film.
Radio.
Now, we ain't proud of anything in here. Let's see a smile. Hey.
Okay. What a crew.
Yeah, you're a good looking.
What a crew.
Just a minute, Jack. We're not through with you yet.
No, they just moved out of the light there a little.
Okay.
Okay?
Now we're gonna get the signalman and the quartermaster.
I ain't worth a damn, but I'll give it a shot.
Hold that down.
Well, he was a radio man, sonar man when they didn't have so much about it.
You just had ways.
You gotta get in here.
Yeah, shit. Get your.
Great. Wait till Focal gets up.
I'm going to. I'm just trying to find the green light you were talking about.
Well, hold it down a little bit and then all the way.
Okay, say shit. It turns out to go in your mouth. Shut up, Sid. Wait a minute, Bo. Wait a minute. Don't move yet. I pushed the wrong button.
He's always pushing the wrong button.
I got it now. Hey, Bobo, everybody. One more. Wait. Smile.
Gee.
Gotcha.
Who didn't we get?
You, where was you at? They said you gotta make a noise for one attendant. Well, they told me you were a one attendant. You gotta make you guys lie to him. I'm an electrician. Come here.
I'm all screwed up when I got a read all this taking 2 days. I can't go Sunday. You know, if you take this here, it costs you $2. There's a cup right there. It said Shield. Is that where you're at? Is that where you all live?
No.
This Bass Pro Shop up here? Yes, I was there a few years ago, and it's twice as big now. You all live? Yes, they can.
Well, my son-in-law's been
Ladies and gentlemen of the Caldwell Group.
Never tried to drink the French or the English coffee.
I don't know.
I did. Tried it. Together with French Cruiser. Invite us over to March.
Eureka Springs. There's one wireless.
I'm strong. House of Lords.
Do you have lot? We have one. Right.
That's a lot of turning it into.
Too bad. We're going down.
Now there you've got a problem. We got a golf course back to us. I don't know where they come from. They were all there. They took this golf and they didn't even get this car like the road on the road, you know. They took the bottom part of the tree. I don't know whether it hurts the trees or not. I didn't have no choice until April
'We're limping home. Here comes all the bombers. And you know what they did? They dumped their load over Attitude and kissed them and went back before darkness to land because the weather was really bad. You had to go all the way back to the harbor.
You know that before that, they had these Jeep carriers.
I'm looking. You have the Jeep carrier. You have the Jeep carrier.
Can't hear you.
Well, you have the Jeep carriers.
Jeep carriers were up there. They were flying the F4Fs. Working birds back. They lost their back. Not that heavy, but they ever. The storm like launch up
We used to be you probably know
That's your own?
Yeah.
I'll take it back there. There we go, we got steak.
right here.
Steak. Steak, Dad.
Steak.
We ordered either. Evidently didn't make any difference.
You want a chicken or a fish? No, we did. We sat down and we scared the hell out of us. Yeah, see, that's we all want. Anyhow, that moose up there didn't taste very good. It was all right. There was nothing. I got better than 2L. No. Well, and then I'll tell you the difference. Like, I got 2 nieces that live up in Alaska, and they come down this morning. They brought some moose here. Yeah, it was fine.
And I think what they said, that
something you'll both enjoy.
And here's a card. How about a kiss?
You didn't, Shan said yesterday.
Yeah.
You missed out on it.
And they went down.
Okay, well said. I will say amen to that. Yeah, I'll let go of that. Go for it. Okay. Any long remarks? It's not over half an hour or so. Huh? Sit up. Sit down. Okay.
Boy, that's changed afterwards.
We've got a person here this evening who will give us what I think is a rather unique speech and address and some information that probably... Up here a minute, Mr. Briggs. Again, I apologize for the noise that you've had to put up with, and I know you've put a lot of work. Hands, the USS Caldwell, the reunion of September 18th, 1992.
Wow, thank you.
Captain Robinson, would you come up here, please? Where it says aboard the USS Caldwell, there was a certain crew member by the name of Steers. And I think that the crew was all dressed and ready for liberty, and I don't think they were allowed off the ship until this birthday cake was presented to Mr. Steers. But I think Captain Robinson is right here. That looks like a Robinson there, is it not?
No, we were here.
I want you to have that. And if you haven't got one, you've got it now. You've got it now. Also, one more thing. Here is a framed picture of surviving the Death Storm. Caldwell, or Omaha Bay. Somewhere aboard there, I think I see somebody going like this, and it's up on the bridge. I don't know who the subject is, but I strongly suspect it could be one of them. Thank you very much, sir.
You guys see that? That's a sketch.
All right. Glad to have you with us. One more time, could we have the officers at Caldwell will stand up? The British, I have to borrow a phrase from the British at this point and say, gentlemen, jolly good show and all that. One thing, I don't know how my voice is at this time.
Right in there. Greg, right in there a little bit. Would you like this?
We can get down in front if nothing else. Yeah. Okay.
There, I got enough.
One more flag order come in. That's all right, we can live without it, but come on.
Trap shooting Branson.
I first, we also had a first one, maybe about 15 or 20.
Give me a name.
Give him your name.
Ed Murphy,
I got you, Ed.
second class.
Next man.
Ken Johnson, machinist mate, second class.
Got you.
They keep their transmitter right on the
Virginia Denner. Wife of Joe Denner.
Come in.
Sure it on the first.
Joe Denner, machinist mate, second
Never
class.
bothered to take a bear.
Got you. Okay, lady.
Rose Murphy, Ed Murphy's wife.
Took a D out of the first part and then copied the whole.
This lady here, in the white jacket.
I just said it. You went over my head.
No, I was aimed at the other lady. Okay, now the other lady.
I'm Alice Johnson, Doug Johnson.
I hope I got you. Jack Fulton, the man that runs the liquor still in the forward hold, is on the screen.
Correct, Jeff.
Who is this, Jim Bates?
John.
I got you. Is this the chief engineer? Give me your name.
James Gordon, first name.
Got you. Give me your name.
My name,
Your name.
Bertie Royal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, you're in the spotlight, system. Take it.
My name is Jose Jimenez.
Okay. This lady.
Muriel Luderin.
And the old radioman Bradley.
There you go, the old radio.
Lady who done such a fine job of running this organization. Boy, she is really to be commended. And this lady here who put up with Sisson, she's really supposed to be commended too. Boy, she's had a hard life living with that dude.
I just ignore him.
Okay, Lutheran, give me your name.
What'd you say?
Your name. Horsepower.
New Jersey.
Got you. Give it to me in Japanese so I can take it down to Soya.
Ohio, konnichiwa, Beikoku, Kaikun, Haiso Cho, Ralph Briggs.
Give it to me. Okay, and you are?
Yep. George Royal.
One more time.
George Royal.
Got you. And your name is?
Doris.
Doris? Okay, Doris. Boy, you had a tough... All right, go ahead if you got anything to say besides your name and address.
Okay.
Your name and horsepower, that is.
There you go. Bob, Sammy, Briggs, 4902 Pershing Avenue, Downers Grove, Illinois, 60515. You know it says 605, same as the good old DVOs, 605. It's been a great reunion. I'm glad we made it.
Come on, Light. That was the last one.
Okay. We broke the camera. Last one. We broke. Thank you so much, Ruth, for being such a good
Bates, Miss Bates? Okay. You got the quartermaster in tow.
No, that's a different one.
Oh, there's a different one? Okay.
Yeah, there's two Bateses, but we're not related.
All right, I got you covered. Right in front of me.
Yes.
This is Helen Briggs.
Helen, oh yeah. Boy, you had a tough life too with that Sammy.
She's going to have all kinds of pictures to look at.
Who's the lady with you, Ruth?
Flash.
Okay.
Rubber band, I guess.
Who's with you?
Oh, Muriel Luderin.
Okay.
A wet, on account of a wet, yeah, on account of a wet. You want to allow yourself about, yeah. Okay, yeah, but allow yourself about an hour and a half, especially if it's raining. I've made it, my best time has been around right at an hour to an hour and 15 minutes. So you better allow an hour and a half at least to get there. Plus the check-in time, so then you're safe. Oh, okay, well then you're all right, okay.
All right, Stan, you're going to have a final word. Let's have it.
Do whatever, huh?
Do whatever.
Well, Well, I'll tell you, the way it's all been put together and so forth is just really something. Yeah. Oh, I can't believe the amount of coffee we drank here. Man, oh man. I was putting coffee in that pot yesterday like one after the other. And I guess we went through, I'll bet we went through 2 gallons easy. One of them things held that up. I didn't know they held that much, but I mean us. I didn't know we held that much coffee.
All right, now you can go into Old Lang Syne.
One for Old Lang Syne?
Yeah.
Like what?
One for the road.
One for the road.
Okay, Stan, you've done a fine job, you and Ruth. We appreciate it.
Thank you. And,
Captain Lincoln, reporting for duty. Mike and Helen Albert. Tom and Geraldine Chow. George and Bertie Royal. John and Wilda McCormick. Jan Harmon and Warren Bacon. Stan and Ruth Adams. Kenneth and Doris Pardee. Eugene and Ruth Lee. Glenn and Marilyn Montgomery. John and Patricia LaCroix. Robert and Vivian Johnston and John Bates. Ross and Irene Weiss. Lou and Merle Lutheran. Guy and Betty Sisson.
Lou and Wilma Grosenball, and John Bates. Fred Knowlton. Bill and Frida Golden. Ed and Rose Murphy. Stan and Shirley Vaslovic. Dominic Fortunato. Ken and Alice Johnson and Lou Bradley. Ivor Lee Bates and Hugh Brandreth. Joe and Virginia Denier. Jarvis and Dorothy Cartwright. Stan and Ruth Adams open a surprise gift, a microwave oven for their RV, a token of appreciation from Caldwell's crew for organizing and hosting a delightful reunion. Plank owners: Jarvis Cartwright, Captain Lincoln, Johnny Johnston, John McCormick, and Guy Sisson. Plank owner shot number 2. Front kneeling: Stan Adams, Lou Bradley. Front row: Fopel, George Royal, Bill McLean. Rear row: Guy Sisson, Lou Lutheran, and Hugh Brandreth. Blank owner shot number 3. Fortunata, Captain Robinson, Tom Child, and I believe Walter Basin, the far left in the rear. Blank owners, a different camera shot. Fortunata, Captain Robinson, Tom Child, Walter Basin. Blank owners, Lou Bradley, George Royal, Bill McLean, Jack Fopel, Lou Lutheran, Hugh Brandreth, and Louis Grosenball. Blank owners, Jarvis Cartwright, Stan Adams, Captain Lincoln, John McCormick, Gordon Gaines, and I believe Johnny Johnston. George Monsheen, California Birdman. Officers, Captain Robinson, George Heller, Captain Lincoln, Gordon Gaines, Lou Grosenball, and Tom Child. Gunners, Bill McLean, Leon Hendrickson, Fred Nolden, John LaCroix, Lou Grosenball, and Stan Adams. Engineers, seated, John McCormick, George Royal. The rear, Hugh Brandreth, Eugene Lee, Ken Johnson, John Denier, and Glenn Montgomery. Deck Force, Kenneth Pardee, Jarvis Cartwright, George Monsheen. Electricians, Ed Murphy, Captain Lincoln, and Warren Bacon. Radarman, Sonarman, Weiss, and Martin. Ship's cooks: William Golden and Mike Albert. Marjorie and Ray Lease, Jack and Nina Fopel, Captain Lincoln, Robert and Vivian Bates, Vivian Johnston, and John Bates, that is. Banquet shot: Jack and Nina Fopel on the left, Ruth and Stan Adams. John Bates, Leon Hendrickson, and Tom and Geraldine Child, I believe. The Wildwood Flower. Site of the banquet. Caldwell's Mess Hall at Branson, Missouri. Caldwell's commission pennant and ensign flown during the Omak Bay action. Andy Williams' Moon River Theater, Branson, Missouri. Waterfalls at Andy Williams' Moon River Theater. Dorothy Cartwright, Moon River Theater, Branson, Missouri. Big Valley Motel, Branson, Missouri. Branson Skyline. Kenneth and Doris Pardee. The Marquee, Big Valley Motel, Branson, Missouri, September the 17th, 1992. Ralph Briggs, guest and brother of Sammy Briggs. Sammy Briggs, Lutheran, Captain Robinson, Sisson, Bradley, and Vaslevik. John Bates, Captain Robinson, Jack Foble, and Johnny Johnston. Torpedoman, Dominic Fortunato, Walter Basin, George Heller, and Tom Chow. Gunners, John LaCroix, Leon Hendrickson, Bill McLean, Fred Nolden, Louis Rosenbaugh, and Stan Adams. Caldwell's reunion van. Ruth Adams and the California Birdman. Captain Lincoln reads his orders, directing him to report to Branson, Missouri for duty at Caldwell's first reunion. The California Birdman, one more time. Hospitality room, Big Valley Motel, Branson, Missouri. The Grand Palace Theater, Branson, Missouri. Highway 76, Branson, Missouri. Branson skyline from the Big Valley Motel. Knowlton, Brandreth, Lutheran, Sisson, Captain Robinson, and Bradley. Them handsome tomcats of the deck force. Weiss and Captain Robinson, Hospitality room. Caldwell Commandos rehashing WW2, the big one. Caldwell's tattered flag that flew during the Omak Bay action. Chandelier at the Grand Palace Motel Theater, Branson, Missouri. Bass Pro Shop, Springfield, Missouri. Waterfall, Bass Pro Shop. Nina and Jack Fople, Bass Pro Shop, Springfield, Missouri. Costilla, Cartwright, Oliver, North, and McGuire. At the backstage in San Francisco, 1944. Nixon, shipfitter. Sane, shipfitter striker. And Sabelico, seaman. At Sherman's Dine and Dance, San Diego, California, November 1945. One day during the war, Nixon got a letter from his girlfriend back in Georgia, and she blessed him out and told him that if you don't like this, you can write me back and tell me to go to hell. So Nix wrote her back, and he told her, I'm not going to tell you to go to hell, and there ain't no need of you telling me to go to hell, because I'm in hell right here on this ship. The young Stan Adams. Gigolo of the backstage. And the other gigolos of the backstage, left to right. Stan Adams, Lutkovich, Crippen, Forio, and Sullivan. Rear row, Jackson, Ditto, Moon, and I don't know the other fella. Picture taken at the backstage, San Francisco, December the 22nd, 1943. Stan gave Captain Robinson a copy of this picture at the banquet. As I remember the story involving the picture, upon returning to Pearl Harbor after one of our trips down south, the flag lieutenant came aboard and said, "Boy, am I glad to see this ship. We have looked all over the Pacific Ocean for you. We have orders from the President of the United States to present Marvin Stair a cake on his birthday. The Commandant, 14th Naval District, will be aboard to present Stair a cake on his birthday." As it happened, the 14th Naval District chaplain presented the cake. Stair is kneeling in the middle behind the cake. I was at the airport in Washington, D.C., 1945, waiting for a flight to Frisco. A lady sitting next to me told me about reading in the Life magazine about the President had a cake presented to a sailor on his birthday. I said, "Yes, ma'am, that's a true story. It happened on my ship, the USS Caldwell." This is a drawing of Armstead Kidd, the ship's barber, by his son, Henry Kidd. Kidd was really proud of his naval service, and especially proud of his service on the Caldwell. He lived in Petersburg, Virginia, and he died in 1989. This is Henry Kidd's version of Caldwell Under Attack, from the sea stories that his daddy told him, and from reading Caldwell's action report. Donald Henry and Jarvis Cartwright Los Angeles, 1943. Red Howard, Donald Henry, Rust, and Pop Price, L.A., 1943. Fry, Dorothy Howard, sister-in-law of Red Howard and Pop Price, L.A., 1943. Donald Henry, L.A., 1943. Avenel Parsons, Jarvis Cartwright, Santa Monica Beach, California. Boy, that was a wonderful day. Caldwell sailors and Honolulu lovelies. Armstead Kid and Lauren Wetzel, 1986. Lauren Wetzel, Jarvis Cartwright, and Armstead Kid, 1986. Lauren was wounded when the ship was hit and went to the hospital, but later returned to the Caldwell for duty. Dorothy Cartwright, Lorraine Wetzel, and Mary Kidd, 1986. And now, let's go back to Pearl Harbor one more time, courtesy ABC News.
The design of this memorial helps us remember Pearl Harbor's place in our nation's history. The raised entrance on that side represents the strength of the United States before the attack. The low point in the center signifies our losses here on December 7th. The low point of our defense, but the starting point on the road to victory. The rise in this end of the memorial represents our return to strength and security with our victory in World War II, as well as our status as a leader in the community of nations. The 7 windows on each side of the center span and the 7 windows across the top represent an eternal 21-gun salute. And the vertical divisions between the windows are symbolic of Marines standing perpetual guard over their compatriots, our compatriots, still at their posts below. It is written, "Greater love hath no man than this, that he lay down his life for his friends." In memory of those who laid down their lives for us here at Pearl Harbor, we will observe a minute of silence at 7:55 a.m., the time that the attack began. And that minute will be marked by the whistle of the USS Chosin. Now, following that minute of silence, aircraft from the Hawaii Air National Guard will memorialize our fallen comrades by a flyover in the missing man formation. And I should say that as they do fly over, and I'll give you a little notice before they get here, they will be coming from the rear here. They will be low and they will be noisy, so I'll make sure that we don't get caught by surprise here. So we will be waiting now for the approach of the USS Chosin, and as she approaches, we will have our minute of silence. You can see the Chosin appearing to my rear, silhouetted by a beautiful Hawaii day and Hawaii background. The Chosin is one of our newest Aegis cruisers. It has an anti-air capability. It has a land attack capability, an anti-ship capability, and anti-submarine warfare capability. This is an example of the multi-dimensional capabilities of our new ships of this day and age, in contrast to the 96 ships that were anchored in the harbor here 50 years ago this morning.
No, I can't see him.
Silence will actually begin in just about a minute. The USS Chosin is moving forward, and the sounding of the ship's whistle, which we will hear, is unique to this ceremony. Ordinarily, it is the bosun's pipe, which you have heard so many times. It is the traditional way for a ship underway to honor those who died on the Arizona. But only on this occasion, which is a unique occasion, this 50th anniversary, will the ship's whistle sound the honor for those who fell at Pearl Harbor.
Ladies and gentlemen, will you please bow your heads in a minute of silence? The four F-15 fighters from the Hawaii Air National Guard are now approaching the memorial from behind us.
This is the missing man flyover, which began at the end man signifying
When the
fallen
aircraft
comrades.
crossed the memorial, one member pulled up and away, leaving the rest to continue on in a missing man formation. This shows that their compatriots are gone, but not forgotten.
Kennedy, her battle group will be leaving sometime shortly for the Med and Persian Gulf. You guys recognize the old Union Jack? Naval Station, Norfolk, Virginia. And WW2, the big one, they were LSDs. Nowadays, ships of this type have 3 or 4 designations. They are all amphibious support ships. You guys see those fellas doing that noble work of the deck force? That highly technical work of the old Navy goes on today. That's a container ship. It don't look like the cargo ships of WW2, does it? Was my great-granddaughter's name that just appeared on the screen. I had intended to put the date on the screen. This is the Theodore Roosevelt.
the Dwight D. Eisenhower. See that hard-working American sailor? This is the Arleigh Burke, old 30-knot Burke's namesake. This is the USS Wasp. Her mission is to carry air cushion boats. USS Saipan. She carries helicopters to support amphibious operations. This is the USS Kittiwake, a submarine rescue vessel. That is the diving bell of the type used to rescue the crew of the Squalus when it sank off the coast of New Hampshire in 1939. I served aboard Kukol ASR-8 from 1947 to 1949. During that period, we made a world cruise from Pearl Harbor to Japan to Subic Bay, Ceylon, Arabia, through the Suez Canal, up to Turkey to stand by while American sailors taught the Turks how to operate submarines we gave them, then to Athens, Naples, Gibraltar, Panama, Dago, Frisco, and back to Pearl. And then back to North Carolina to marry my bride Dorothy, June 12th, 1949. Oh, happy day. These ships carry frozen foods, fresh vegetables, and other provisions, and I do hope that they will not permit Australian mutton to be brought aboard. This is the fleet oiler, and you former deckhands should recognize them hoses hanging up there.
but it makes a good picture. Show you guys that I can still get in my uniform that I hung up 33 years ago. It was a delight seeing all of you and your ladies at Branson. I think it's wonderful that Caldwell's crew has again become a viable entity with the mission to hold biannual reunions, to locate Caldwell sailors, and to publish periodic newsletters, keeping the crew current on matters affecting our shipmates. Dot and I are looking forward to the 1994 reunion and hope to see all of you there.